Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today I'm really excited to be continuing our series about making a mid-sized venue or church look great, and we want to continue that by talking about our stage size. So in our last video, if you didn't catch it here. We were looking at kind of a typical band stage at the end of that video and talking about, okay, how do you take a typical square, 24 by 36 or whatever mid-sized band stage, and how do you make it look better with some depth, right? And what we did was we did a lot of the things that I see here. Like I've got a mid-stage truss on this screen too. And I brought that stuff out. I brought lighting out. I brought that depth out into the space to help fill out the stage more and not just make it feel like there's a flat backdrop. Now, does it take more work to do this? A little, but it's worth it. Today, I want to talk about the front edge of the stage. Okay, so we talked about the back side of the stage, and now I want to talk about the front side. So what I've done here on this church stage that I use in a lot of my models for people in Learn Stage Lighting Labs is I took a very typical church stage, and this could be a band stage, it could be anything. This video is not just for church people. And I started to extend it out. Now, if you've been around the church world, and I've been in a lot of churches, both touring with an artist, a couple artists actually, and, consulting with churches, et cetera, et cetera. I've been in a lot of churches, right? And the most common way we usually see churches build out their stage is not this, but they'll just go ahead and say they're looking at their stage and it's, 40 feet wide. They'll just take this 40 feet and they'll duplicate it and they'll extend it out, right? So let me select that just a hair better. So they just literally grab that 40 feet of stage and they go, forward with it, right? They just add, maybe they go 36 feet or a little smaller. Sometimes they make it like a little bit of a trapezoid type shape, right? Where you basically get, where it starts to pyramid down and get smaller towards the front or actually be slanted. And that's really common. And, that's one way to extend a stage, but that's more permanent. What about on a temporary basis? If you're going to extend your stage that way on a more permanent basis, then you're working with that for the long haul. But when we're talking about maximizing our lighting and making things look new and different and interesting for, a sermon series, a particular band, a run of shows, a season, then we don't want to do something like that necessarily. But maybe you go and extend something like this. Like here, I just added 3 risers out in the front and center, and then I made a catwalk, a straight line out. These are 2 really common ways that people extend their stages. And what this does for you, just to drag it around and move somebody out there, what this ultimately does is it gives you that ability as you move around and as you look at it visually. You're going to see that, okay, now if I'm sitting on the side or the middle, whoops, move this guy to the middle, or the middle, or the other side, or maybe I'm seated way in the back, I now have a separation between this front area and the back where the band is, okay? And this is a really common thing to do for a stage in churches. And what that allows you to do, which is really neat, is we'll just turn these guys on. And what this does for us, just to show you, is if I grab those fixtures, I'll just put on my front light a little bit here for a minute. And I turn those guys on. I now have the ability, and we do this a lot in like corporate events, to bring somebody out on this front stage really quietly while the rear stage is still lit. And then I could flip-flop it, right? I could actually turn off all my main stage lights and then I could turn on my front stage lights. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now. But what you're able to do then is create that depth in the sense that not only do I have the depth of, okay, people are looking at this guy or lady, but then these guys or ladies back here are playing and they're on a completely different set. I can light them completely differently. I'm able to light up just this half or turn this off, light up just this half. And what this does is it gives people a really great visual break. And in fact, you don't even have to extend the stage physically to do this. So maybe you're in a situation you say, I could never extend the stage physically. I say never. But say we've got our lead person here and they're right here. We don't extend the stage, but you can still go ahead with lighting, shrink that stage down. So maybe we have it so that, okay, we turn off all these front lights. Whoop. And we find just our middle two. See, I need my overhead view here. My two that are lighting my middle area, which I believe are these two. No, this one, and we'll make it work. Then we'll cheat a little. And we light just our middle area. And then maybe we go and for a look for a particular part, we literally shut everything else off, right? And now we create a focus on this area of the stage that is completely unique, where we can turn off completely even this other area of the stage, because right now we've still got these guys on, which are giving us a little bit of light there on the rest of the band. But we turn those off, and we can tighten this light up a little bit. And all of a sudden, we've got, okay, a much tighter section of stage that's lit. We darken up everything else, and now we've got that ability to, see it in a different light, pun totally intended, right? In a totally different light. And so ultimately, when we're creating a look, oh my goodness, on this stage, when we're creating that depth and we want to make things a little more interesting. Let me dial this back a little bit. Woo-skis there. There we go. That's a little better. If we're looking at this stage, whether it's a band stage, church stage, doesn't matter. Ultimately, what we're able to do is go ahead and really create that look of depth no matter where somebody stands. Maybe they're on the floor over here, right? This guy's on the floor now, and we can light him. We can create that separation by extending out our stage, whether we physically do it by actually extending the stage, or whether it's just us bringing light out maybe to the floor in front of the stage. Maybe we've got some spotlights and our lead singer of our band comes out into the audience. We're able to darken the stage for a few. These are the moments, honestly, in a show or a church service that people often remember the most. When things become tight, when things move location physically, and the connection between the performer and the audience is greater, and the moment's just more intimate. And ultimately, that's what creates those really memorable moments. And it also grounds the dynamics of your show, lighting-wise. I talk about dynamic range from time to time here, and we have a video on it. I'll pop it here. I think we have a video on it. And when you have a portion of the show where you move it to a smaller space, you bring down that lighting and you give yourself that extra depth. Maybe you keep just the backdrop for one portion. Maybe you cut out the backdrop for another portion. That's when artistically you make it so that those big moments when you have everything on and lights are moving and flashing and whatnot, it makes that feel grander because you've grounded that down with something more simple. Awesome. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe here. Give this video a big thumbs up and let me know down below. What was your favorite tip? What was your favorite tidbit from today's video? Let us know in the comments. I love to read those. And then we'll see you guys back next week. I'm really excited about this because we're going to talk about some ways, another way to create depth and interest in your stage without, spending a fortune, all that stuff. So we'll see you guys there. Thanks.